Okay, so this one is once again for AP Physics 1. This is from the textbook Chapter 3. And then this is from the AP Test Prep, and it's question number 1. Okay, so on this one it says, a ball is thrown at an angle of 45 degrees above the horizontal, which best describes the acceleration of the ball from the instant after it leaves the thrower's hand until the time it hits the ground. Okay, so we have a ball, it's thrown at 45 degrees. And we want to, what can we say about its acceleration? Well, we know that in the x direction, it's 0, right? And we know in the y direction, our acceleration is going to be negative g, right? Or negative 9.8 meters per second squared. So let me draw our path. So as we're going up, put little arrows so we can kind of get a sense of our direction during this time. So as we're going up, gravity, the force of gravity is pulling us down. As we go across the top and hit this very peak, the force of gravity is pulling us down. As we start to go down, the force of gravity is pulling us down. That's why we slow down as we go up, because acceleration is going against us. And then we stop, and then we start to speed up because acceleration is pulling with us. So let's check out our answer choices. It says it's always in the same direction as the motion, initially positive and gradually dropping to 0 by the time it hits the ground. So this is saying that acceleration, or the change in motion caused by the pull of the earth, is following our object around and changing with it. So earth isn't gonna change the way it pulls on objects and follow paths with objects, right? It's just sitting there pulling. So A is a no-go. For choice B, it says it's initially positive in the upward direction, and then 0, and then negative until it hits the ground. So if it was positive in this direction, what direction would our object be going? Well, I think if it was accelerating up, it would just keep going up, right? It's accelerating down, which is why its speed gets smaller and smaller as it goes up. And just because we're at the top of our trajectory doesn't mean that the earth is suddenly going to turn off, right? I don't think the earth notices where we are in our trajectory. So even here, it's still pulling it down at our 9.8 meters per second squared. And then our next one, always in the opposite direction of the motion. Well, here it's in the opposite direction, right? Well, the x component anyway. The y component is the opposite, and that's what we're looking at because we already know the x component is 0. So those are opposite because this is going up, but then here they're the same, right? Because we're speeding up on our way down, slowing down, slowing down, slowing down, stop, speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. So we're opposite here and we're same here. Always in a downward direction with the same constant value. Yes. Acceleration due to gravity. I'll make that a G. G. It's always G. So it's always pulling down at with 9.8 meters per second squared as the acceleration. So that's always happening. The chances of you having a do you really understand gravity question on the AP test is likely. So make sure that this one makes sense to you, and if it doesn't, please get in touch with me.